Right, I think that's a little better. Sorry for the technical glitch. The technical glitch being the damn thing didn't work. Plug it in, make sure it works, and if in doubt, turn it on and off again. So, having done all of that, I'm actually now back and welcome everybody to the stream. Hopefully, you're all well. And this is going to be a series, and you poor people are going to get me rammed down your throat. You're going to not want to talk to me, and you're going to have to put up with me for the next week. Because Twitch is giving me a bit of a challenge, which is to stream every day. Okay, challenge accepted. And in light of the stream that I did at the weekend with Michael and Gustav about the FAQ and the changes that we made, I thought it would be an ideal opportunity to look at a couple of those and see how they would impact on the meta slightly, and also build a deck or two around them. And I've decided to start with Davion Pilot. And the reason being that it hasn't had a lot of love recently. And the non-unique element of Solaris Contacts really hurt it. And from what I hear in the league, then nobody plays it at all for that reason. So we'll have a quick look at the changes as a reminder, and then we'll go and build a deck and see how we go from there. You also might have to put up with me slightly. My throat is feeling a little sore, and I may need to quench it every now and again. So, if I use the deck editor, you may well be all familiar with this. For those of you that are not, the filters on the left-hand side are really useful. And we'll just, for the moment, remove the BT tactics. And yes, I always do that. I always click contains BT and not doesn't contain to filter out all the things that aren't in the original core Battletech set. And we're going to start off with Solaris Contacts itself. And you can see the original one is still there for all of you people that like the original one. And here's the modified one using the BT Tactics kind of artwork and the original picture. And you can see that it's amended, and there's those big red letters at the bottom saying balance for tournament play. And the basic change to this is that Solaris Contacts does not allow you to put a unique pilot into play. So dropping this and then putting Kai and Vic around is not going to happen anymore. However, the alternative, and is now a nice alternative, is the recently modified Hasty Alliance. Again, here's the original one, scrap when revealed, activate if you control a unique card, search your stockpile, go and find another one, put them into play. And for those of you that read or listened to the rulings on the FAQ broadcast at the weekend, they technically go into the command post for one of those microsecond things before you automatically reassign them to go out and do their duty and pilot their mech on the battlefield. This has been tweaked again slightly so that this allows you to grab a person and not some of the legacy cards or high command cards that people were often going and grabbing. Okay, so that's what we're going to have a look at. So I'm just going to double click on that and drop it into the main deck for the moment. And then what I want to do is work out who the hell I'm going to start playing around with to pull this. So I'm going to use the keyword filter, and I'm going to go for pilot, and having tried this 5 or 6 times earlier, it's space dash, not underscore, dash space unique. And I'm just going to go for you because Lackey does the whole filter. We don't need the whole word. And we've now got all the uniques in the game, and this includes a number of the clan pilots. So we will use the alignment, and I'll just put in there, so it will only pick the inner sphere aligned unique pilots, and here they all are. Okay. Oh, by the way, when I'm doing this, anyone who's got any questions, if you're online and listening in, drop them into the chat, and we can talk about them. Okay. So, Hasty Alliance, we're going to want Kai. We'll go for the CE version of Kai Champ because it's the latest one. And the same with Prince Vic. So, oops. Now, do we want the original Vic? Mech piloted by Vic cannot attack or block alone. Each mech in a group that includes mech piloted by Vic gets 2 attack. Now, that's a very nice damage boost, but the blocking and attacking alone, I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll put him in for the moment. We can always take him out. We've got his Prince status, so he'll be in the deck one way or the other. I mean, Prince Vic is just too good to not do, and he doesn't have that downside of attacking or blocking alone. Okay, so the other thing to notice is that we are already into tactics territory with our pilots, and although we're going to use Hasty Alliance to put them out, Hasty Alliance only works when we've already got a unique in play. So somewhere down the line, we're going to have to pay for a pilot or 2. So I think we're going to need to put we're going to need politics in the deck. And that for the pilot deck makes a bit of a change because normally they're just pure A and T. And what this does do is open up a few options for us. Okay, so I'll just organise them on affiliation. Because the other thing to notice is Vic is Davion, Kai is Davion. Okay, we've got all the Davions we want. We're not going to go into Karita, Laos, Steiner, or I could go Jamie. Wolfstragoons is valid, but we can now start and look at the Inner Sphere generic pilots. And the first one, to be honest, we talked about it on the stream, but the one that comes to mind is actually Dan Allard. And I really like Dan Allard. I think he's a really, really good card. And I think it's actually quite well designed as well. So he is a 2-cost, 2P, 2T buyout pilot. He's a unique mercenary. And he has +1 initiative and +2 attack, which is quite nice. Maybe not for 2P, 2T, but it's still nice bonuses. But the real nice thing in here is that he has this lovely little subclause that says, reassign any pilot you control to any mech in a group that contains mech piloted by Dan Allard. Use this ability during your missions phase involving a mech piloted by him. Okay, so I'm just going to drop him in there for the moment. And I'm going to just turn those, actually, I'll just turn those filters off. And I'm going to go and look for reassigned pilot. And what you find when you look at reassigned pilot is roll a die, 1 to 3, reassign the pilot from one of the mechs to one you've got. 4 to 6, do exactly the same and retain the card. So this is a mission that always works. There's no downside of it. There's just an upside. And what you see from this is that Dan Allard effectively has the reassigned pilot built in. And that's every time you use him. So effectively, he could be worth 3 or 4 mission cards on his own. And the other thing I like about him is if you compare him to some of the pilots, if we look at the Calhoun pilot, which is 1-1, if you look at the Wolfstragoon pilot, 2-1, that's 1T. If you look at the Comstar Deep Agent, 2 attack, 2 initiative, 1-3 PT. He's well costed. I think he's nicely designed, fair card. I think the reassigned pilot is an unused mission. It's not one of the top ones. You don't see it very often. And arguably incorporating that into a pilot ability, whether it's thematic or not, I wouldn't like to say. I'm a card player, not the great lore masters and thematic people. Okay, I am streaming, but my screen is not showing that I am. So let me have a quick check on that. Maybe I need to reload that. Looks like I am streaming. It's just I normally have I have a sec. I stream with 3 screens, one of which is tied into Twitch, so I can see what's going on. So the fact that he was sat there doing nothing and be worried, especially after all the microphone and noise issues earlier. So yeah, so I think Dan Arnold is well costed and has a really good ability, and he's also politics and tactics, and from that point of view, we're going to be playing with those assets. So I think he is definitely a worthy inclusion. He might even be an auto inclusion on this kind of deck, because at 2 cost, 2T, 2P, or politics and tactics, if we've got those on the table, he's actually quite cheap to get out. I could pay 2 and put him out, and then hasty alliance and go and grab Kai or Vic or whatever I want. So I think he's a good pick. And then we look down the rest of them. We have Morgan Kell, who a lot of people forget. Morgan Kell, and basically he's a free hit. He's effectively an inside job built into him. If he attacks alone, it cannot be blocked. At the end of mission, you put him back in your hand. Okay, it's a free hit. With Solaris contacts, it's probably even more powerful. So I think putting him back in the hand, probably not what we want. We're trying to get big pilots out with hasty alliance and not pay the cost of them. He's for 5T. Solaris doesn't work with him anymore. He's probably one of the casualties of the Solaris change more than anything else. If you've got him and you can attack, and the next turn you can put him out with Solaris, not going to happen here. And then we have the wonderful headbanded warrior woman Rhonda. 3 initiative, 1 attack. One of the following options that you choose, your opponent can or can't use. I like Rhonda. I'm not sure we're going to end up with her, having tried this before. 3 is possibly a little too expensive with P and T. I know Dan's only 1 more, but I'm not sure. I'm going to add her. Oops, come on. What is going on with my machine tonight? There we go. In she goes. And she's in, and it's a nice ability. Okay. I think she's going to end up in the sideboard, and we'll see why in a minute. The other 2 the other 2 I've given it away already. I'm going to add the Psycho twins that look like they've come out of a Mad Max movie, which is Tanya and Elizabeth O'Bannon. And the reason for this is, yes, I'm paying 3 for them, but I'm getting 2. I get both of them because I get 1 initiative and 2 attack. And when you activate them, you can go and search the scrap heap, stockpile, or hand. So literally, you can pull them from anywhere and go and get the other one. And it doesn't count as a deployment as well. Now, the interesting thing here is that these 2 did not work with Solaris, because Solaris put Solaris put the pilot into play without activating them, whereas the text on Tanya and Elizabeth says when you activate, and effectively Solaris bypassed that, so they never work with Solaris. So okay, we've lost Morgan Kell. We've gained a nice pair of lovely women instead. And I think I might be including these because they're cheap enough. When we look at the other one, we're into Karita territory and other. Jamie Wolf might be worth it, but he's a 4 cost. And excuse the beepy noises in the background. Someone's decided to phone me, and it's probably spam. So I'm going to leave Jamie out. I quite like Jamie's ability, but I'm not there with it. And all of a sudden, we're at 9 cards. And if I'm thinking about 24, 12, 24, which is probably where I should be, I probably want to include, where are we, Hasty Alliance, to get to 3. And I think the plan here is probably get a cheaper pilot out. First Hasty for Kai, second Hasty for Vic, third Hasty for somebody else, if I haven't got either of those two. If Kai dies, I'll go and get the other Kai. So I'm thinking that that's probably the way to go. I think I'm going to cut Victor, and I think I'm going to put Rhonda in the sideboard. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pilots, 3 Hasty Alliance, which is probably where I need to be. 9 cards is quite a lot of my 12 so far. If I'm sticking to the rule, and I'm probably going to, and at this point I would say I would stick to the rule, get the deck to the end, look at what I like, what I don't like, and then tweak a number or two here or there. So at the moment I'm thinking that's my pool. These are my pilots. I like Rhonda, but I think at the moment she's probably sideboard. Shame that Elizabeth doesn't grab Tanya from the sideboard and vice versa. That'd be even better. One interesting thing with the O'Bannon sisters is also worth mentioning here is that because it says you can search your stockpile, scrap heap, and or hand, you can put one of them into play, and it says you may, which means you can put one into play, go and attack with it, the mech dies, and that O'Bannon sister gets scrapped. Then you put the other one into play the following turn and go and get the one you've scrapped and put that back into play, which is quite a nice trick if you're not aware of it, because they put the, maybe they blow a mission card and kill Tanya, say, and then you put Lizzie down and it brings her back. So it's effectively a free black market for the other sister, which is a nice touch. So I'm thinking that's my pool, and I'm probably going to flesh it out with 3 mission cards. So our mechs are going to probably be assembly and tactics, and we've got some politics in here. And this is going to lead me to the very, very classic support network for these guys. I appear to be typing everything in caps. So I'm going to go straight for 8 assembly. Come on. And I tend to pick this C assembly because it's reasonably green. And then the tactics, I pick the A because it's reasonably purple. I'm adding 6 of those. And then politics, I'm going to pick they're all quite grey. I think I'm going to pick this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And the reason I pick those is that they stand out. My assembly is green and red and browny stuff. My tactics is blue and whatever, and my politics is kind of a dull yellowy grey, so I can easily see them. When I pick logistics, I normally pick the blue one or the blue one or the pink one. And the munitions one, I tend to pick the greeny blue or possibly this one. That's my phone again. Looks like someone's trying to get hold of me. So anyway, so just to make my life easy. So it's totally classic. War Funds is back of the game. 4 of those. Black market. 2 of those. And that's classic. 8, 6, 4, 4 black market. 4 War Funds, 2 black market. That's your 24 resources. That's your split. And when you look at it, we've got low politics. We've got 4 politics cards for Dan and the Hasties. We've got War Funds to pull what we want. Our mechs are going to be out first, followed by our tactics for a pilot. So it's a pretty good split. You can tweak it. You could drop a War Funds, maybe put a think tank in if you want. It's all down to personal preference. Okay, so finally we need to start and think about our mechs, and then we can come back round to a couple of missions or a few missions. So type contains, well, a unit. Alignment contains inner sphere. And are we going to go Davion? Are we going to go Davion or are we going to go generic? Let's try Davion first. Blackjacks. Yeah, they're quite nice. The Swarm, Dervishes, Watchman. Poor thing it is. Look for the Davion Steiner, and you can see how many there are of these. What do I like? Oh yeah, my Wolfhound. I like the Wolfhound. And we have the original Wolfhound and the Crusade one, which is even better because it's really cheap. One A 2T. Our assets might be slightly off with assembly and tactics, but that'll do nicely. Do I want to go with Hatchet Man? Do I want to go with Hatchet Man? I could go with Hatchet Man. Let's put a couple of those in, I think. And then I want our wonderful Centurion. Oh, I really can't type because it's a generic 5 of those. And then they're all mediums or slows, so we want a bit of fast cover. So I'm going to pick the Spectre. 4 of those. Do I want to go further? Do I want to take that down a little? Do I want to drop a Wolfhound? I think I want 6 Spectres. I think I want 6 Spectres. I've got 3 Hatchet Men. Do I take the Hatchet Man out? Add another Centurion. Add another Wolfhound. Add another Wolfhound. 6 of each. That looks quite reasonable. They're all mediums or fasts. All right. Actually, they're all mediums apart from the Spectre. But that doesn't mean I can't put Kai and Vic on a Spectre. So that's all right. I'm happy with that. And now we've got our missions. So what do we play mission wise? I quite like Mike Bodie's Comguard, if I can find it. Comguard response team, pushing the envelope, and then one other. I know lots of people like Force of Will, and maybe it's worth one Force of Will, just actually for the 1 damage reduction, just to prevent the pilot from dying. The +4 is super, but generally when they attack and want to kill a mech, then the prevent 1 damage is normally quite good. And the other thing with this is that you can just use it for raw damage. If you're going for the stockpile, you can add +4 to it. The only problem is pilots, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pilots. I don't know. It just feels a bit win more. If I've already got those pilots on the table, the chances are I'm in a really good position. Do I need another 4 damage? Possibly not. Do I just go and put some? Do I go and put another Comguard in or something, or another push in? Or maybe maybe I put a forged in. I put forged in, just in case they try and chump block, and it works. Because when you look at something like Vic, +3/+3, and everything else gets 1/1, you want to attack in a group, just to get the numbers up. And if you saw the Travis versus Sinmaker YouTube match, which I critiqued a little while ago, one of the problems was that you've got Vic on the table and you're not giving his bonus to the other units. Now, okay, you've got to be careful. Something like Heavy Fog, for example, will really hurt you, and you get a feel for somebody else's deck. But the strength of Vic is just stick a few more units with him, and everything gets mental. So I think I might just go with that. Comguard pushing and a Forge Mission Orders. It feels okay. I'm not sure if it's going to win the World Championship. I think having to run hasty. If you look at this deck, you would have run what, 2 Solaris instead, and you might have, okay, you'd have run 2 Solaris, and instead we're running 4 Politics for the hasty alliances. So I'm adding 4 Politics and 3 Hasty Alliance. So I'm adding 7 cards, of which I could have used Solaris Contacts for 2. So I'm kind of 5 cards down. And I think that would have been another 2 or 3 units and another couple of missions. So I feel that the deck's squeezed a little. And maybe that's good and balanced. Maybe Solaris into Kai and Vicky is too strong. This is strong if you can get a pilot down, I think. If you can get a pilot down and pull it, then you're good. I mean, can you afford to go more hasties? Can you afford to go more pilots? Yeah, you could do, I suppose, but you're giving up on your missions. I don't know whether that's good. Okay, if we go back to a pilots, clear that. Who else would you put in if you took out missions and went completely pilot friendly? So, do you pull Rhonda back in? Do you drop your missions? Where are my missions gone? I'll just put them in the sideboard because it's easy to pull them in and out again. Who else do I put in unique wise? I've only got Morgan. I can only and Victor. And Victor's too expensive, and Morgan's too expensive on their own. I've got cheap Dan, cheap Liz, cheap Tanya. Rhonda's payable, and I don't want to pay for the others. All right, maybe I do drop a wall funds and put a think tank in. So that I can scrap that for logistics, which means I can restock Kai, i.e. not pay for him because I'm going to use my hasty. And then I'm left with 2 more. Do I go and put my hatchet man back in? I think I put my hatchet man back in. Probably the 2-cost version. And maybe take the Wolfhound down and the Spectre down. Maybe that's the way to go. I'm going to win initiative most of the time. So I'll know what's happening mission-wise, but I won't have anything to play. That's interesting. I think that makes or leaves a number of quandaries, a number of thoughts. I think the deck is viable. I don't think it's pure luck. I think it's reasonably well constructed. I think, like any pilot deck, if you can get the pilot out, then it's really good. My worry is that without missions, then until you get your pilots out, you're kind of reliant on them to support you. Although obviously we've got more pilots. I don't know what's best. Honest to God, I don't know what's best. I think I would try this. I think this needs a playtest. This needs a playtest with pilots pure, and this needs a playtest with a few less pilots and a few missions. And at the moment, I can't distinguish between the two as to which is best. I do like to have the odd mission now and again. I suppose the only other benefit of not having a mission is when it comes to Kai, you don't have to do the reveal the top card and put the mission in your hand because you know you haven't got any. But then, so Star League used to run without missions or pilots. So I think there's some food for thought there. I think that's an interesting side. I think Hasty's made it an interesting deck to try and balance now. and I think there's a number of potential options. Maybe you tweak a pilot or two. Not sure. I think the think tank for one war funds is probably good. And we're running Davion and not Steiner, aren't we? Let's have a just check on those. So we can't run Kai and Vic. The only style unique is Galen. Actually, it doesn't have to be pilot, does it? So we could just go with unique. Are there any uniques that we like that are Davion? Alex Mallory. Because you put them in play and then play hasty, you can pull a pilot. Look at opponent hand, choose any card in the opponent restocks that card and draws a card. Okay, that's funky. Using ability during your missions phase, but not during a mission. Davion High Command we can't pull with hasty, but if it's on the table we can use hasty, so not as good. Galen Cox, choosing play mission cards to 2R to stop him playing mission card. Don't know, maybe that's a sideboard. Morgan Hasek. He's too expensive. Most of these guys are way too expensive. The one that might be worth it's Davion High Command, but he doesn't pull. I know Alex Mallory seems interesting to me, although he's as weak as hell in his Era 4 bait. Look at the opponent's hand and choose any card in it. They restock a card. That could be fun. That could be fun. I'll put him in the sideboard. Drop a hatchet man. Maybe drop a hatchet man. Add a wolf hand. And then put Alex Mallory in. There you go, there's a card you haven't used before. But I'll tell you what, that looks dead good fun, doesn't it? Look at their hand, see what's in it, and then restock a card for 3. And I'm running politics. And then I can scrap him and get 1 to 6 resources. That's a nice benefit. I could scrap him if I'm struggling for uniques or I haven't got hasty. I could tap it, look at opponent's hand, choose a card, get them to restock it. They draw a replacement, use it during a missions phase, but not during a mission. Then I could scrap him for 1 to 6 resources. If you roll high enough, you could get Kai, because it's 6, or Vic. I'm liking Alex Mallory in there. Okay, that's funky. That's different. That's where I'm going to leave it. That's my deck. I think what I want to do now is obviously give it a name. Hit that. Save it. I've got my 3 resources in the sideboard, and I'll play it. See how it goes. See what people how it works. Can I pull it off? Do I win? Do I lose? What can I change? So okay, that was a bit different. I think when I look at this deck, Dan Allard is new. The O'Bannon sisters could have been included, but they're new. Alex Mallory definitely is. Rhonda could well be, and okay, some of the rest of it's reasonably formulaic, but that's definitely put a different twist on it. There's a different focus on it, and it works differently. I'm not convinced that it's perfect. You know, you look at Mike Bodie's deck from 2000, you know it's a good deck. You can look at it and you see how it works, and we've got the essence of that, but we've had to hasty it. So I'm thinking I like the hasty alliance change. I think that's made things a little more interesting, much more interesting than Wharf and Solaris Contacts. Put it down, tap it, out goes Kai or a Mongoose, and smack the guy for 6 on the second turn or whatever else it is on a God draw. And I think there's enough in there. Okay, maybe I don't want. I've got 1 less Spectre. think I'd take a wolf hand down for that. I'll just save that, just to give me a bit more fast cover. Cool. All right. If you've seen it, great. If you want to play it, go and play it. Let me know. Come back and say, that deck you built with that hasty alliance of those pilots, it's crap. Fine. I don't mind. Tell me about it. Tell me what you do to it. Let me know. If there's anything you guys want, I've had a request to do Suicide Troops as a card review. I'm probably going to do that with a deck, actually. I'm going to try and do a Throwback Thursday deck, but it won't be this week because I've got something even more topical for this week. It'll probably be the week after or the week after that, but I will do it. If anybody wants me to look at any cards, let me know. I'm going to do another pilot deck tomorrow. I'm going to try and mix it up. I'm going to try and look at maybe another unique combo type thing. Because, okay, we looked at Davion today. Are there other options? I think there might be. And I'm going to look at some of the options for the normal Solaris with the vanilla pilots, as they're called, over the week. What I do tomorrow, I have no idea. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to mess around with it. I'm going to play left, right, and centre. I've got 3 or 4 ideas that I want to explore. I've got a few ideas in my head, but I haven't built them yet. And I think there's kind of something that building it on the stream is quite interesting. And if anyone's able to watch, okay, I know it's 7 o'clock, nearly 8 o'clock UK time, which means it's probably 2:30 in the States, or later or earlier than that, and most of you are at work and whatever else. But if you're on your lunch break and you want to watch or you want to feedback or whatever else, let me know. And message me, Facebook me, whatever it is. If you want a card review or you want to see me try and build a particular pilot deck, I'll try and do it. And I will leave you with the face of Alex Mallory, who is my interesting card of the day, and a card that I've managed to put into a deck, and I've never done that before, ever. So thank you guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you tomorrow for another one, and we'll see what this silly brain comes up with. Take care. It's a big bad word out there. I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'll see you all soon. Bye.